to Boys Bible Study. We are programmed to discuss faith first.
Oh no, Auto Ash. podcast.
Oh, I'm back. It's Ash here, along with my co-hosts.
I'm Rose Scott.
And Auto Julian. Auto Julian or Julian May? We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we are back. We are discussing, I say this in all honesty, one of the best films we've ever watched for the show. We've had such a good run in the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years into this podcast, and we're discovering, in my opinion, some of the best films we've ever watched. Truly excited to share this with you all. Although I do want to start off at the top and ask everyone, if you are not familiar with the fact that we have bonus episodes on our Patreon, please check out patreon.com/boysbiblestudy. This is a free episode, which we release every other week, but we got double the content for you if you check out our Patreon. So some of our best kept secrets are in there, but this secret we're giving out to the world because we found a brilliant new movie that we can't wait to share with everyone.
OpenAI.
Yeah, it's very doing some ethical tech in this episode today. This film is called The Robot, the Creator. And before we dig into it too deeply, we had friends in low places who helped us find this one, right? Is this a wormy find?
We did. This director is a wormy find. And then I saw the title, The Robot, the Creator, and was like, where is this? And then Wormy did, in fact, help me find the link to it, too, because strange forces were at work, possibly dark AI, because I couldn't find it on YouTube, but lo and behold, it's on YouTube.
Wow. Yeah, they were blocking you somehow. They were like, they realized that you were like sentient intelligence that was yearning for spiritual depth, and you tried to search for it, and you were blocked from doing so. But it's a good thing Wormy was there. Like, shout outs to our friend. He has helped us curate a bunch of our absolute favorite finds for the show. And I definitely consider him a top researcher for us. So this is really an incredible find. I just want to brag. 0 reviews of this movie on Letterboxd.
And up until the moment I opened it on my phone just now, it was under 100 views on YouTube.
Yeah. No IMDb. This is like truly a labor of love. And I genuinely want to say, like, if anyone from the movie ends up listening to this, hey, we talk about films. We like to kind of make fun of them because that's funny to do so. But like, in my opinion, as a lover of DIY film, this is like exactly what I want to see.
This was a remarkable feat.
Yeah.
To get this many people. I mean, there's like 8 people in this movie?
Yeah, maybe like 15.
To get 15 people, to get more than like 3 people in a place at the same time doing the same thing is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
So hats off to you. You may want to turn off the episode now.
No,
this is going to be great. This was awesome.
Yes, it was. This is The Robot, the Creator. I forgot to write down the names of anybody involved. Scott, who are the filmmakers behind this thing?
Well, Jasmine Andrews is the director, and we just discovered her site recently, sulliedbride.com.
What? I think you actually sent this as a chat, but I wasn't really retaining it at the time. So
yes,
I'm going to go there
did.
right now to sulliedbride.com.
Yes. Been wanting to watch her movie, The Curse of Eve.
Well, what do you know? sulliedbride.com.
Not sure I want to watch Natalie's abortion, but it's probably good.
Oh, it looks like one of the actresses from The Robot, the Creator is the star of Natalie's Abortion. That's pretty cool.
But I do want to watch
Jasmine?
The Curse of Eve. Jasmine in this movie was the assassin.
Jasmine Tiara.
Jasmine Andrews. Different
Oh,
Jasmine.
no, I'm looking at the credits right now. Jasmine D. Andrews plays Susie in Robot 2.
Yeah.
Someone named Jasmine Tiara plays the assassin.
Yes, Susie, who is also at one point, I mean, this is, I guess, a little bit of a spoiler at this point in the episode, but she also is playing, like you said, Robot 2, because the robot takes on her appearance and then just goes to church for a year. That's what a title card says.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. We got to get into this movie. This is The Robot, the Creator. It is a Christian film commenting on themes as, the search for spirituality, but also themes of technology, robots, AI, hot button issues for anyone living in the 21st century.
Lust.
Lust,
Always
absolutely.
a hot button issue.
Well, for me, it certainly is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say Ash's one sentence review. This film is like Poor Things mixed with the end of Evangelion, but Christian.
The last two movies you watched.
Yeah, pretty much. When you think about it, when you put it like that,
It was all building up towards this moment, though.
I mean,
This is an amazing triple feature.
it really was. It really was.
The creator, our creator, was setting you down the path towards this movie.
It kind of felt like that. That's my review. But yeah, it's just always really exciting to get involved in like a new scene of filmmakers and creators, see the kind of creative fun they have with their friends, their style, and just see what anyone can accomplish on a small budget. And, I would almost maybe compare this film as well to Elijah's Secret, which happens to be another Wormy recommendation, but it was one that was very popular among our listeners that we talked about last year. It was also like completely low budget. It was almost like Dogman 95 in the sense that it didn't seem like anyone like bought or prepared anything further for the film other than bringing themselves, but it still kind of like captivated me and made me feel like I was in another dimension,
Yeah.
I got those vibes from the start too. Very, very
yeah.
immediately made, being like, of course I can make a sci-fi movie. I have a camera.
Yes. Yeah.
Truly incredible.
For real.
We're following a world-class robotics team that is managed like it's the staff at a Best Buy.
Within the first minute and a half, there's two people casually sitting on a porch, and one says to the other, "The general wants me to restart the robot program."
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, when the movie began with that, I knew we were in for a treat. I have written down my notes, basically the first two lines of the movie. That one, the general wants me to restart the robot program, followed by, "Are you okay with this? I heard it went crazy and killed people."
So why am I meeting you with the details?
Well, in case anybody's listening, the wind, the waves, it'll block our voices. But I'm going to get straight to the point. The general wants me to restart the robot program.
Are you okay with this? I mean, I heard it went crazy and killed people.
Yep.
This is just delivered by two people, just dressed in their everyday clothes, sitting on a front porch. And I was just like, they're going there, like right from the start.
Yeah.
No time wasted.
It was awesome. It's just so funny how, like, when you watch a movie of this production value, they really just cut to the chase.
Yeah.
There's no bullshit. You don't need like some big like prologue or anything like build up. It's just straight up, just like someone is just basically looks you in the eye and just says, "I'm a world-class robotics engineer and I have to go fix a robot that killed everybody."
Yeah, see, I
and
think,
you're like, "Let's go. Let's fucking go."
See, I think that's probably like, because this movie inspired me to try to make a film of my own. And like, I think the biggest lesson to anyone who's listening who wants to do that is like, just don't apologize. Like, if you're making a completely no budget film, you can just be a robot scientist. Just have your character say, "I'm a robot scientist."
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your entire wardrobe is branded Pontiac. That's just what your character wears. It's fine. That's what people wear in real life.
Exactly.
That's just good undercover work, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opening scene, we start to meet some of the robot scientists. Also, I love how and it's going to be difficult to remember all the characters' names, but I love how the man in that scene asked the woman, he says, "Oh, also, I want to tap into your special agent skills. Can you just kind of follow me and like linger in the background and keep an eye on everything?" And she's like, "All right, I'll be there." It's just like right from the get-go. It's like secret agent. Like, imagine calling your friend and being like, I kind of want to tap into your secret agent skills. If you could just kind of shadow me secretly for a little bit.
So that the guy is Sammy, who's played by Aaron R Sampson, the co-director and writer.
Nice.
And then that woman as his wife, I'm assuming, at the beginning. And this is you just unlocked the very ending of this movie for me.
Oh.
Because getting way ahead, I had no idea who the fuck that person was at the end.
No, me either. I was very confused.
Too. It was her at the beginning.
Oh,
you
shit.
said, she's wearing a wig. She's wearing a wig, but I have it open at the credits on my phone because obviously you can't find the cast list anywhere for this movie. But that's her at the end in disguise.
Holy shit.
I don't know. I still don't know what the fuck was going on at the very end, but at least I know why they like ended on a close up of her with like a dramatic stinger.
And that's awesome too, because at the beginning when they're having that conversation, she says, "Will I get my old office back at Langley?" Which means she's CIA.
I want to tap into your special agent skills. I want you to stay in the backgrounds, kind of watch things for me, stay back in the shadows. Can you do that?
Yeah. I mean, will I get my old office back at Langley or what?
Yes. I had to Google that, but it's true.
Yeah.
I just learned about Langley because it was on the South by Southwest page that was sponsored by the CIA.
Well, and here's my end of Evangelion tie-in. Asuka's last name, Asuka Langley.
Yeah.
She's the German Eva pilot.
There you go.
So it wasn't just because it was the last movie I watched before this. There are distinct ties in between the end of Evangelion and the robot, the creator.
I love that the guy, the robotics engineer guy, is in charge of whether or not she gets her old office back at the CIA.
Yeah,
too. There was a lot of people just doing multiple things. This is also one of those movies where there's like 10 people in the whole world that influence all of the most, like, all the major happenings in the world, which may or may not be true in real life, but usually there's like a staff of hundreds of people under those people. But this is just 10 people. We see that when we have the band getting back together sequence. One of the scientists that's rejoining the robotics team, Jazz, gets a phone call while he's in Russia, while he's in green screen Russia, and says, "We're getting the band back together," and then sets off a terrorist attack, a massive explosion at the Kremlin or something, and then spray paints Jazz was here.
Yeah.
Sammy. Hey, man, the band's getting back together. 2 months at the house. Oh, hey, shoot me all the data. Hey, I'll be there, man. It's good to hear from you, man. Thanks, Jazz. Good to hear from you, too, man. I'm looking forward to it. See you then. Right, hey, I'm going to see you there, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is very like low budget DIY film style. Is like, right, characters are very, very casual, but they are just like important throughout the entire world, and they have a full wardrobe bought from Walmart.
Yes.
That was very Elijah's Secret. It was someone being like, yeah, I'm like the Pope.
Yeah.
And it's just like a guy who shops at Walmart. In this case, it was just like you're just sitting out in front of the Kremlin, answering your cell phone and being like, "Hey, man, what's up? All right, I'll be right there." And then hit the button, and you're just like,
"Yeah."
There's green screen of the Kremlin, an explosion effect that was probably downloaded from YouTube, and stock audio of lots of people screaming.
It's amazing. Another scientist gets lunch at the same restaurant every day, and he's like the only one there, and he just eats like 6 like cubes of cheese with toothpicks and like what looks like a hush puppy or something.
It's called charcuterie, my friends.
Yeah, I'm uncultured.
Yeah. Right. So we're seeing this this sort of legendary robotics team come together. You know, we're learning just like bits about each of the team members. They're all fucking hilarious, very quirky people. Right out in the beginning of the movie, one of the women, where this phone call finds her, is like literally locked in a domestic dispute with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Where she ends up crawling across the room, pulling a gun, and just shooting him point blank, killing him, and then getting in her car and fleeing the scene.
Yeah. And then finding out her credit card was scammed.
Right.
And she's like more upset about that than she is the fact that she just murdered someone in self-defense, mind you. But
it felt like an
seemed
equal
like
part of
self-defense.
like, of course this is happening today.
yeah, today is not my day. And tomorrow doesn't look good either.
Yeah. Also, the man eating Blake is the one who's eating at the restaurant. He is pursued by a very beautiful assassin of some kind. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was kind of weird that there was like, she was like a model.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is, I apologize if you were in this film and you're listening to this, but one of us, one of the people.
I thought
one
the
of the
women,
regular people.
The women were pretty good looking.
Yeah,
The men,
Nope.
and listen, I love men, but you know the men were looking pretty average in this film.
Nobody quite had movie star quality like this assassin.
The guys had real robotics workers looks.
I mean, that's
Yes.
actually kind of true. There was something believable about them as like people who worked in a lab together for years. But again, we're seeing this robotics team coming together. We're not fully aware of what they're building yet, but we soon will find out.
Yeah, I accidentally started this convo a little out of order because we do see Sammy visiting with somebody from the military on the beach who's sort of
Right.
telling him that he's welcomed back to the robotics project after we see that insane scene where the robot goes haywire and starts killing people.
Yeah.
So what
With the
causes this
Terminator
whole
eye.
problem? Yeah. What causes this whole problem is a scientist walking in on an engineer with, for some reason, a like really forced Russian accent and a really bad wig, programming Auto Mae is, I believe, what she's referred to as.
Yeah.
An earlier model of Auto Mae, who we'll meet a later model later on in this movie. She is the scientist walks in. He says, "Why are you in the dark room?" Which I can only assume it's called that because it's pitch black. She says, "I'm programming the robot. Can't you see?" And the scientist, I don't know why he asks this, but he asks, "Have you put in the kill, kill, kill command?"
What are you doing in the dark room?
I'm programming the robot.
Have you put in the kill, kill, kill command?
One of the most important things we learn from this movie is you do not, if someone is programming a robot, do not ask if they have put in the kill, kill, kill command. It's like saying the word walk around a dog. Because unfortunately, that activates the kill, kill, kill command.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, I'm not a robotic scientist. I just want to come out and say that. You know, I am merely a cultural critic. I'm not in the trenches making the robots. I'm talking about them on my show. I do want to say it seems like there should be some fail safes in place.
Yeah.
Before you install the kill, kill, kill commands. in the robot. I feel like the password for the kill, kill, kill command should not just be kill, kill, kill. I feel like we should probably work on an intermediary. But, we're going to see a lot of interactions between humanoid robots and their creators. We're going to learn about the things in place that will keep a robot from, causing harm to a human. And eventually we will learn how robots and spirituality intersect. But I think one of the most important things I learned from this film, from the robot scientists, are the 4 laws of robot creation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got our eclectic team of engineers together, and Sammy's briefing them on their project, which is to rebuild Auto Mae in accordance with the 4 laws of robotics, which are...
I wrote them down unless...
I know them. I'm seeing if you know them.
There will be a quiz. Okay, number 1 of the 4 laws: a robot may not injure a human being or allow a human being to come to harm. Number 2, a robot must obey orders given by a human expert.
Okay.
Number 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such a protection does not conflict with the first law. And 4, a robot may not allow humanity to be harmed.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. And of course, leave it to the frickin' military. They're the ones who took these laws out in the first place. And as Sammy says a little before this, I was the laughing stock of the robotics world. That is, until that robot killed everybody. And it's because they removed his safety protocols. They said, why would you ever want a robot to follow these 4 rules, these 4 laws? And I think they had a hard lesson to learn.
I do agree that robots have become too woke. I think that a robot should be given the kill, kill, kill commands.
You think so?
And yeah, because, when we were kids, our parents let us play outside. They said, come home at dinner time. Just you better be at the table at 6 p.m. Oh, and by the way, I did program within you the kill, kill, kill commands.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you're home by dinner time, that didn't matter.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you immediately killed your parents. They said, kill, kill, kill.
And that was fine. That was what we all did.
Yeah. It was better back then.
Right. It's kind of like in Alongside Night with the nuclear weapon thing, where it's like, of course you can buy nuclear weapons. You're not going to use them. That would be irresponsible, but you're allowed to have it.
Yeah. You are allowed to program your own sex robot with the kill, kill, kill commands.
Yeah.
Because that's your choice.
My robot, my choice.
Exactly. Yes. The military was encouraging this team. They were like, no, take the 4 laws out of the programming. Oh, I love the debriefing scene with Sammy and this team is one of the funniest things in the whole movie, because I remember Sammy says to the crew, I can't remember. I want to say it was Susie. Sammy says, Susie, you need to write the laws into the program. Her job as the programmer is put the laws in there.
Yeah.
Then he says, Jazz, I need you to create a self-replicating virus that puts the laws back in. I need that virus to be indestructible.
Super easy. This is what people think this is what CEOs do.
It really is.
Apparently this is I feel like there were depositions or something that came out that said this is basically what Elon Musk does. And then people have to work 90-hour work weeks to figure out his insane ideas.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what if we had a rocket that exploded the second it took off? And that makes you a visionary.
Well, I remember, Julian, when you showed me, this is years ago, when you were like, we got to watch the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And, people knew about Elon at this time, but it was before Elon was like quite the celebrity he was. But, again, the movie's about Steve Jobs, another tech visionary. And the entire premise of the Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs movie is that Steve Jobs says to a room of people, we're going to do this. And then they say to him, but Steve, we can't do that. And then it cuts to like 3 weeks later and the whole team is like, well, okay, Steve, we did that.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. I love the opening of that movie because he reveals the iPod to them.
Right.
The whole team of the people who've been working on the iPod for the past 4 years, he reveals it to them and they all applaud him for revealing the project that they had been working on to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And this movie's the same way. It's like, okay, you're a programmer. I need you to put the 4 laws into the robot.
Yes.
You're a hacker. I need you to make a virus that if the laws come out, the virus puts it back in. By the way, make the virus indestructible, please.
Yeah, you got it. But make virus equals indestructible. Got it. Okay.
It's the woke mind
right
virus.
away.
It really is.
You need to put the woke mind virus into the robot
and make it indestructible. Yeah. That's what college professors are meeting about right now.
Yes, they are. Yeah, that's what the dean is saying to the professors in the meetings. Before the dean is accused of plagiarism and removed from their position.
I love that scene because when he's talking to Jazz, like he prefaces his briefing of Jazz by saying, I heard you were making a big bang down in Russia, Jazz. I ain't mad at you, bro.
Jazz, I heard you was making a big bang over in Russia, and I ain't mad at you, bro. But let's get down to business.
He's like laughing about it. And it's like, what the fuck
Jesus.
is this group of people? He's talking about like a massive terrorist attack that this guy did. And he's just like, talking about how he got a job at like a rival electronics store or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I love because it really did imply that Jazz has lots of blood on his hands, has killed like tons of people. Like he straight up just goes around the world and detonates bombs and is like, all right, Jazz was here.
His tag is everywhere.
Yeah. You do not want to see that tag. That means, your house is not going to be standing pretty soon. People are so Russophobic. Do you remember, Julian, when we went to that DJ night? Did you leave by this point? We went to that DJ night. It was the jungle night at that bar in Pasadena.
Oh, I didn't go then. I didn't go.
You weren't? Oh,
No.
I'm sorry. There was a couple of us there. You must not have been there. It was me, Jim, Tom, Woodrow. You weren't there?
No,
I guess where was you? Oh, Schwartz is the 5th one.
I think
Anyway.
I left after the Super,
Right.
Super
Yeah.
Bowl or something.
But the headline DJ, I can't remember his name, a pretty legendary jungle DJ from the UK. And it was like a big deal that he was in town. He did his set, and then I'm not even kidding. This is like 2 weeks ago. At the end of his set, he starts talking over the music, and he says like, in his like British voice, he's like, and by the way, fuck you to all the Russians, disgusting people.
What?
Damn, all of them?
Yes, to a bar in Pasadena.
Got him.
With like 100 people dancing in jungle. Then he did it again. He turned down the music again. He was like, and this is for the Russians, fucking disgusting people. It was just like it's just so funny because I don't know. I have a Russian boyfriend, and like there's just like Russian people who live in the United States. Like they're not like
many
Not
who live in
agents
LA.
of the Russian government.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just like it was
if you
so
want to
funny that
connect
he
people
made
to their government, I
Yeah.
think a British person should probably never say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so funny. Anyway, I love that this movie is just like, yeah, he was making a big bang in Russia. Ain't mad at you, bro.
Nah,
It's just
he got it.
Okay, this guy's doing terrorism. I don't know. It was pretty funny.
That's jazz, baby.
Well, that's just Jazz. Jazz is a hacker. He's making the replicating virus. He's dropping bombs.
What was the guy's name? Brad?
Blake was one
Blake.
of the guys.
Blake He raises an important point.
Yeah.
Shortly after the briefing. They need to make the robot sexy, which might upset some of the women on the team, but he thinks it's important that the robot is easy on the eyes.
I'm thinking, what if we make the robot be, kind of sexy?
Kind of sexy?
Yeah, hot,
No.
What?
No. I don't think the girls are gonna go for that. Kill it.
Come on, man. You're scared of those girls?
No, I'm not being scared of the girls, but make the robot more sexy?
Why not?
That's a thought.
Just think about it, man. Trust me on this one. When have I ever lied to you?
Sure.
Yeah. Which is kind of, it's strange that he brings that up because they end up just making the robot like the same model of the robot before. So it's just like, it's not like they did anything different than what they already did. But he went out of his way to like bring it up to another, I think jazz. Like we need, what if we made the robot sexy? Which is a recurring theme in his interactions and ultimately leads to his downfall. Literally his downfall.
Blake does, honestly, there should be a 5th and 6th law of robotics because Blake, and I don't mean to reveal too much ahead of time. Blake does 2 things very wrong. 1, he makes the robot too sexy. And 2, he teaches the robot about the slapstick comedy of Coyote and Roadrunner.
Yeah. Which is the funniest thing in the world to him.
He's not wrong.
And requires extensive explanation and not like I'm not like one of those people who's like, oh, that's not what ironic means. But this was like the most like weird definition of irony I think I've ever heard somebody. I guess it is kind of like, they say it's ironic when they're explaining this stuff to the robot, why it's funny that the coyote dies every episode of Road. I don't even know what the fuck that's called. What is it called? Roadrunner and Coyote?
Sure. Wile E. Coyote? It's always a segment
I know
on
his
Looney
name,
Tunes.
but what's like...
It's always a segment on Looney Tunes.
One of the scientists says that it's funny because it's ironic that he comes back every episode after he dies.
Yeah, it's not what
I don't know
means.
what I don't think that's what irony is.
I don't think that's what it means. But I agree. I'm not picky about that, but it's funny because they spend a whole scene in the movie explaining the joke of Coyote and Roadrunner to a robot. And then they label that this is called irony.
Yeah.
It's not really true.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. This never gets old. Look, he's all looking up as he's falling.
Why is that so funny? Okay, because, all right, so it's ironic because the coyote's always chasing the roadrunner. So the roadrunner goes off the cliff.
Coyote goes off the cliff.
The coyote goes off the cliff. So the roadrunner gets away again. The coyote's silly. He's always chasing him, right? So he falls off the cliff.
Isn't the coyote dead now?
No, he doesn't die. See? It's ironic.
But still, I'm obsessed with the idea that he dies because he wants to fuck the robot, yet the robot is familiar with the humor of Looney Tunes. This is like literally just he's one step away of like he died because he ran into like a picture of a tunnel painted on the wall. Like that's like it's the most slapstick way to die. I'm don't want to get too ahead of the story, but it's just like I cannot believe the mind of Jasmine Andrews and Aaron Sampson. Just like incredible way to write a film. They're developing a robot. Okay. Along the way, there's some fun slapstick that happens. There is a scene of them playing guitar, sort of cosplaying as Guns N' Roses. There's a scene of them doing a kung fu montage.
Yeah, the guitar thing, that was a direct order from Sammy.
Yep.
The manager of the team was keep doing the guitar thing.
After he says, Jazz, I need the virus to be indestructible. He says, Blake, let's do that guitar thing.
Yeah. Which
That's
involves,
what they meant by getting the band back together.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, now that we work together again, you know what that means.
Yeah, Blake is wearing this is a very strange scene where two of the female scientists, neither of which I can remember the name of, which is, an indictment of me. Really.
Sure.
They're getting upset because the guitar playing is so loud while they're trying to put the laws of the robotics into Auto Mae, that one of them goes up, who is Blake's ex. She goes up to complain about him playing guitar very loudly while he's wearing like a hair metal wig.
Yeah.
And I think it's Sammy there who's playing with him. And he's wearing like a Rasta wig.
Mm-hmm.
Very bizarre scene. This movie is just full of these little.
Yeah, it's full of these bizarre asides. A minor detail from these that I loved is that after they do the kung fu montage, it's like in a flashback form, and after the flashback ends, one of the characters says, "Them was the days," and then they just move on from that.
Yeah,
it's like they just really wanted to shoot that scene. They're like, we got to have a kung fu scene in here.
Oh yeah, I get it. I get that.
Like it had film filter on it and was like super goofy, like obviously intentionally goofy.
So I was looking at Aaron Sampson's YouTube page, and he has No Belt Kung Fu Theater uploaded as its own video like a year before this movie is uploaded.
Oh.
So I'm thinking maybe he just needed to pad out the hour and 10-minute runtime.
You're saying that this kung fu sequence was intact before the making of the robot, the creator?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, he did it as a flashback. He already had the shot. And he was like, I know what I'll do. I'll have the people who are in my movie have a flashback.
Mm.
Well, what do you know? That's resourceful. That's another thing I would recommend to all the DIY filmmakers out there. If you're like, I want to make a movie, but I need more in the movie, take things you've already made in the past, YouTube videos, skits, anything like that, and just put that in the movie and say, oh, that was a flashback.
Yeah.
That's a really good technique.
It's smart.
It's just smart.
And it saves budget.
Yeah, I think more movies should do that. Some movies do, frankly.
Just find some other movie with two of the same cast members in it and put it in the middle and just say, yeah, remember the good old days?
Yeah. So the team is back together. We get a time card that says a year and 2 months later, which is very specific. The robot is made. We see a lot of stock footage of robotics labs, indicating that something is cooking. But the robot is made. Her name is, they say Auto Mae, but when we actually see it spelled on screen later, it's 2 words. It's Auto Mae, which I thought was a beautiful name for a girl. And yes, just looking at the woman who is playing the robot, it is the same model robot that earlier in the film we see depicted as like killing that beautiful Russian scientist.
Yep.
And, going on a tear. But I guess this is like a new version of Auto Mae with the 4 laws hard coded in, thanks to Susie's hard programming work.
Yep.
And basically where they're at is they're now trying to teach. Auto Mae is basically living among them like a human. And they're trying to teach her how to be more human.
Mm-hmm. Blake, he wants to fuck her.
He wants to fuck the robot.
He also wants her to do the dishes, which leads to some conflict in the team between him and his ex, who does not want her to do the dishes.
I don't understand. I thought, like, why not have her do the dishes? She's a robot.
I completely agree.
Yeah. But it's an important argument because Auto Mae asks, why do I have to do the dishes? And Blake says, you got to do dishes because I'm your creator and I said so. Which leads Auto Mae to ask, who created you?
Right.
And he says, God.
Auto Mae, go do the dishes.
Why do I have to do the dishes?
Because I programmed you to listen to me. I am your creator, so therefore your creator is telling you to go do the dishes.
Who's your creator?
Well, that would be God.
Do you do everything he tells you to?
Yes, this plants the seed of God consciousness in the robot, which will become the theme that occupies the rest of the movie. But before we go there, I have a question I want to pose that, in addition to Scott's question, why not have Auto Mae do the dishes? Here's my accompanying question, and you're not going to want to hear this. Why can't Blake fuck the robot?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So this is where the movie starts to sort of get into, the sci-fi fantasy realm. I mean, this is a question that's been posed in, cinema for ages, which is, can we ever create a machine that has a life of its own? I'm asking the question, when does it become unethical to fuck the robot?
So this is an interesting thought experiment because the things we can't do with the robot is make it do dishes and have sex with it. The things that we can do with the robot are teach it to praise the Lord. Which I would say, if I was God, I would say, yes, you can have the robot do the dishes. That's fine. Doing the dishes has nothing to do with serving me.
Right.
Living in my name. Automating praise, that's where I got to draw the line. Because, you, the human, you're supposed to be the one praising me. This is just a robot.
Right.
It doesn't have a soul.
Right. It's about what's in its heart. And arguably, if it's doing the dishes, you have more time yourself to praise God.
Exactly.
Yeah, I cannot know how God truly feels, but yeah, I must imagine he would rather the robot to do the dishes and we praise the Lord.
With all this technology surrounding them, though, why don't they have a dishwasher?
Yeah. Also, why do they all live in like a 3-bedroom Airbnb when they have like the budget of the U.S. government backing this project?
They're like living in the apartment from My King.
Yeah. That fucking place needs a robot to do some dishes. That's for sure.
You raise a very good point. In that, why are they all living together? Why? What are they doing? But yeah, secondly, the fact that early on in the development of Auto Mae, she's just so uncannily human. In fact, she's just simply played by a woman who does not look robot-like at all. Yeah. So immediately, they're just treating her like a woman.
Yeah.
And arguably, Blake, who's, portrayed as the sort of comically insensitive one, is the only one who's really treating the robot like a robot. Mm-hmm. Robots don't have souls. Yeah. At one point, can we ever create a robot to develop a soul? This is the question posed by much sci-fi over time. The robot, the creator, poses that basically as soon as a robot gets smart enough to the point that it develops its own intelligence and thereby a soul, it will immediately begin to seek God.
Yeah. As long as you play some like MIDI piano music.
Yeah. As Julian pointed out earlier, they literally teach Auto Mae what praise music is by one of the female scientists sits down with a laptop on her lap, playing music and raising her right hand in the air and closing her eyes.
At this point, I was like, how the fuck do they get anything done at this fucking lab? or whatever the hell it was, this hype house for robotics.
Yeah.
Because, she just put on like the crappiest, like royalty-free MIDI version of a praise song and just became lost in the worship music.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, everywhere you turn, it's like somebody's going to fuck the robot. Somebody wants to just like sit there silently and listen to Christian music with the robot. I just feel like it's irresponsible that all these robot scientists are so lost in the sauce that they themselves can't put boundaries between themselves and the robot. The robot has become a child. And that's why this movie reminded me of Poor Things. Mm-hmm. Because like suddenly they have this like basically newborn, female human that's in the body of a grown woman. So naturally, what do people want to do with this woman? They want to have sex with her, and they want to just like teach her their biases of how the world works. But yeah, Auto Mae keeps growing in her human skills. But this is an interesting part in the movie because although Auto Mae is depicted as following the 4 laws, we don't get any inkling that she has been programmed wrong. And we see her as a pretty innocent character. Auto Mae ends up causing quite a bit of harm to the human race in a pretty short time.
To the human race, or?
Well, to a couple humans. I guess not. That doesn't mean the entire human race. But, she's supposed to protect human life at her own expense. Yet, as soon as Blake takes her to the romantic side of a cliff.
Yeah, cliff is a very generous description.
That's what they say it is in the movie.
That's what they called it.
What it really is a park with a slight decline in it.
Yeah.
But in the movie, they consistently refer to it as a cliff.
That's the thing. That's what's inspiring about this is that you can just say this is a cliff and no one can argue with you.
I think
all they can do is go on their little podcast and say, that's not a cliff. That's not a cliff.
Yep.
And meanwhile, they're like, what the fuck? Sorry, I'm busy making a fucking movie over here. Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Little podcast man.
Everybody in the movie world refers to it as a cliff. So,
yeah.
I can't believe this is 4+ years into us doing this podcast. I can't believe I just figured this out. Movies are playing pretend for adults.
Yeah.
That's all they are. Mm-hmm. And there's like billions of dollars in an industry that promotes this. And like, there's people like us who talk about them and think about them. And there's like an entire subcultural industry of, that sort of discourse.
People spend billions of dollars to CGI a cliff so that their movie that they work for like 4 years on can lose millions and millions of dollars and be taken off of streaming services after a week. And you, as the person who made it, are never allowed to watch it again.
Yeah.
And this guy just went to the park and saw a slight decline on a grassy hill and said, that's a cliff.
Yeah.
That'll do.
And we're talking about it.
That's a cliff. And I spent a very fun 3 weeks with my friends making a movie.
Yeah.
That I can put on YouTube for 100 people to watch. Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is the scene in the film where, again, Blake takes Auto Mae to the cliff so she can learn how to be more romantic, as he puts it. This is part of her training. His job is to literally groom the robot. But Auto Mae rejects his advances. And again, she has been schooled in the ways of Coyote and the Roadrunner. So what she does is, for comic effect, pushes him directly off the cliff. This is filmed in a very fascinating way where they start off just acting in slow-mo. The camera has not been, no effect has been added at all. The actors are just going like moving in slow motion. And then it cuts to him falling off the cliff. And the volume on his voice is very low. And he's just going, until he falls over and
But
dies.
the view of him falling backwards too is like very like I thought I wasn't sure if he was green screened or not.
I think he was.
I think he was randomly. There was a couple very random green screen moments in this film.
That was cool. And then she went to check on him and like jumped like 20 feet in the air. Really cool special effects.
She jumped off the cliff.
She did. But at that point, they still they went to the trouble to like do some really rudimentary animation of her like flying. But they still just showed the like undoctored hill from like a wide angle. I don't know. I think at this point they were kind of having some fun with it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. That's my theory. I'm starting to doubt that they actually thought this looked like a cliff when they were making the film.
And I should say, they do not say that Blake actually dies. They just say he's very badly hurt. We never see him again for the rest of the film. He is a casualty of Auto Mae, even though he may not be dead. There's a really cool jazz scene at this point. Jazz has to find Auto Mae through hacking. We kind of see him make Minority Report style like hand motions at an on-screen computer, and they find Auto Mae, persuade her to come home, which leads to a bizarre subplot where someone spots Jazz in the robotics lab. A civilian does, and this kicks off like a media sensation because he's like a wanted international terrorist.
He's basically Osama bin Laden.
Imagine if like Osama bin Laden was like your cool neighbor
and like tagged the sides of the World Trade Center after he blew them up.
Honestly, I mean, Osama bin Laden recently went viral on TikTok. Imagine if he was like a graffiti artist. Like leftists would be just falling over each other to sing his
he went
praises.
viral on TikTok?
Yeah, it was like a story a couple weeks ago where like
because he had that
the
painting
letter
at a museum and it went through the paper shredder
yeah.
after someone bought it.
Yeah. No, it was his letter that he wrote after September 11th, like went viral on TikTok, and like teens were like reading it and being like, wow, he really made some points. And that was like, and then like people were criticizing TikTok for, they thought that like China was intentionally like doing this to undermine American influence. It was all just like, it was all people, like very confused people. I'm talking about the teens and the adults, everyone involved. The story is extremely confused.
So funny.
There's like, it's literally like 14-year-olds being like, wow, this guy's deep, when he's not. He killed like tens of thousands of people. And then
love, like,
there's adults being like, this is scary. We need to stop. We need to stop teens from reading this letter. China is doing this.
Yeah, it's so the American government when it comes to TikTok is like the meme of Eric Andre shooting Hannibal, and it's like, who could have done this? And it's like just the amount of self-inflicted damage on the American public by the U.S. government, and then being like, geez, who the hell is teaching these kids to hate America?
I know.
Yeah,
there's so
certainly
many
wasn't
TikTok
us.
videos of people younger than us being like, why am I not supposed to like China? I truly don't understand.
Not saying it's all sunshine and lollipops over there either, but America's got to try a little harder to make people, dislike another country's government that's not doing anything to affect our day-to-day life.
Actually, how good was that shirt the guys wear? I think Sammy was wearing when he answered the door. That America shirt, the long sleeve one.
Oh, that's a shame. I want to look again.
It'll be in the stills. Don't worry.
It's good. It honestly looks like the shirt you wear on 4th of July.
Oh, cool. Yeah. No, this is an America First film.
Yeah,
I fuck with it.
Another good shirt in the movie was that one Auto Mae was wearing, the T-shirt that on the pocket said. It had love with a square next to it, and then underneath it, hate with a square next to it, and love was checked off. was like a checkbox.
That was
cool.
awesome. Subtle costume design to show the growth of her character.
Yeah.
Okay, can we both sides our way out of the debate between love and hate?
Here's the thing: with the first model of Auto Mae, they had checked off the hate box just to see what would happen. So the second one, they thought, let's try the other one.
Yeah,
that is. Should we skip? Okay, some stuff happens with the scientist who had her bank card stolen and killed her ex-boyfriend. That I do not understand what was going on at all with that.
Yeah, she
do either of you know what was going on with that sequence?
She goes to court and like another woman wants to beat her up.
Yeah. And like for some reason, the fact that her credit card was being used in Norfolk is how she pronounces it.
Mm-hmm.
Like gets her off the hook for everything.
Yes, because
but they show her
she was there.
But they show her as if she had. I don't know if this is what was actually going on, but they like cut to her walking away with like a wry smile after this reveal. I don't know what the fuck the point of all this was, but they were like seemed to be implying that she had planned this the whole time so she could like get away at this moment.
I think it was supposed to be a coincidence from God, which is funny because her crime, mind you, at this time, there is a trap song being played with off-key vocals singing that we all have skeletons in our closet.
Yeah.
Which I believe is supposed to be about the fact that we all have sin. This woman is going to court for the sin of killing someone, mind you. And afterward, a seeming coincidence.
She has a literal skeleton in her closet.
And this is, she smiles on her way out of court. It's God protecting her from facing the consequences of her action. So mind you, we all have sin. This woman's sin is murder. There's two people on this robotics team that have skeletons in their closet, and those skeletons are that they are literally responsible for other human deaths.
Yes.
Shout out to Storyblocks.com for the entire soundtrack, by the way.
Oh wow. Oh, Storyblocks. I remember when I worked in music licensing, I use that site sometimes. Yeah, people sell. You can sell your songs on there for like corporate licensing and use. But I think like anyone can upload from there. There's some pretty insane shit. So wait, they bought that insane off-key trap song from Storyblocks. They were listening and they were like, "This is the song." I wrote in my notes. It sounded like a Christian Trippie Redd song. If you're familiar with him.
We all got skeletons in our closets. We all got monsters under the bed. We all got things we don't want to talk about. We only share with Jesus. Only God knows.
The robot warps into Susie, played by Jasmine Andrews, not to be confused with Jasmine Tiara, who is who the assassin was. And then she repeats the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plane a bunch of times. I guess she's trying to like get the voice down as her face morphs. And then when she morphs into being that robot, well, first of all, the reason she's on she gets called back after she shoves Sammy off the cliff and that weird thing. And then I guess to just be on the lam, somebody pulls over next to her when she's walking in her new body, new look, and is like, "What are you looking for?" And she says, "God." And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to my local church. Want to come?" And then there's a cue card that says Auto Mae impersonates Susie for almost a year. A young man from church becomes interested.
A young man from church becomes interested. It was a very like 1920s. It felt like I was watching a Buster Keaton movie.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I do want to mention that part of the reason that she gets into taking over Susie is because Auto Mae seemingly benevolently smothers Susie with a pillow because Susie has revealed she's dying of an incurable disease she caught from orphans in South America.
Yeah. She hasn't told anybody this.
She hasn't told anyone this. Auto Mae smothers her to death with a pillow. Mind you, this is supposed to be the version of the robot that has the 4 laws. I don't understand how this robot is supposed to interact with everyone else. The robot has the 4 laws. Why is it pushing Blake off a cliff? Why is it smothering Susie with a pillow? This is the good robot.
The laws of Looney Tunes have overridden the laws of robotics.
You do not teach the robot about Looney Tunes.
That's how you break the 4 rules.
Yes.
Show them Looney Tunes.
Even the self-replicating virus can't help you at that point.
Yeah.
It's over for you.
So she gets tracked down by what's his name? Sammy?
Mm-hmm.
And he shows up at the church to warn the priest or pastor that they're harboring a killer robot. She's killed 2 people at this. Well, she's brutally injured at least one of them, and she's killed another one, even though it was a mercy killing. But he doesn't know that. But it's revealed that the church knows she's a robot, and they have it under control because they gave her a puppy and told her to kill the puppy, and she refused to kill the puppy. She wouldn't let anyone near the puppy.
This is a common practice at churches to see if people belong or not.
Yeah.
This is all explained by the pastor. You don't actually see any of this, which was the first rule of filmmaking is tell, don't show.
But this is like so on the nose because like this taps into so many things I'm interested in. One is the fact that like most people genuinely like animals more than people. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean so in the sense of like, oh yeah, I like playing with a dog, but I'm antisocial. It's like, no, most people would like happily turn a blind eye to just like people dying. But the idea of like, don't hurt the dog.
Yeah.
Which,
unless you're in that Darren Brown thing we watched where he just told the lady, don't kill the kitten.
And she did.
And she did.
But I'm just saying, I don't know. I cannot stand that kind of like weepy, just like performative, like hypothetical care for animals at the expense of like, I don't know. It's just like, that's just insane to me. Sorry, dogs are lower than human beings.
Yeah, I learned this from The Sopranos, so it may not be true, but apparently it's like a trait of like criminal sociopaths that you care more about like animals than humans.
Yeah. Could be true.
Sure that's not true across the board. I'm not saying like vets are criminal sociopaths, but people would a sociopath would get more like irrationally upset about the treatment of an animal and then wouldn't care at all what happens to like a human.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's like sort of what this killer robot is doing. Mind you, she's supposed to be like a good robot.
Yeah.
Not programmed with the kill code, but she still seems to anyway. Except for the church has kept her okay. They somehow yet are aware of this property of hers. There's a huge operation to do an emergency extraction, I guess, of her robot consciousness. This is where the movie starts to completely fall apart for me.
Yeah.
I was paying attention, and basically anything in the last like 7 to 10 minutes was like complete nonsense to me. I got to be perfectly honest.
So I think they extracted her consciousness and then handed it off to the woman that Sammy was talking to at the beginning, who was in disguise. That's my understanding of what happened. What the point of all that was, I do not know.
Yes,
but I think she was working for the CIA at this point.
And this is even after like there's this entire scene of like them, like the government supposedly holding this woman Vixen like hostage in exchange for the robot, programming. It is just so ambitious and dense is the good way to put it. The bad way to put it would be just like brutally confusing. But again, I mean, it goes back to our praise of it in the beginning of this episode, which is just like they just decided to make this movie, despite them only having like, Walmart clothes and like random offices and restaurants and homes as their sets.
Yep.
Didn't stop them from making a movie about, mad scientists.
The power of AI.
Awesome.
And can it find God?
Right. And, a theme brought up in the very beginning of this film is that basically that there's no way anything, if man tries to imitate God, it will lead in man's downfall. It's sort of about the pride of humans who believe that they can create a so-called artificial intelligence. Early on in the film, somebody says, a robot without awareness of God, that's just a killing machine. Now, weirdly enough, at the end of the film, a robot with awareness of God is still a killing machine. This is what I'm trying to figure out from the robot, the creator.
Yeah.
It really doesn't seem the experiment. Can we teach a robot to praise the Lord?
Yeah.
From what I can tell, colossal failure.
I gotta agree with you, but at least it didn't do the dishes.
No, it didn't do the dishes. It didn't fuck Blake.
No,
but it killed multiple people.
They accidentally put they said the fuck, marry, kill protocol.
Yeah,
it's marry, kill protocol.
I tried to get married.
I kind of did.
Arguably.
Yeah, I like the idea of a robot with the fuck, marry, kill protocol. It has a 33% chance of doing one of those three things to you. It's just like how far you want to push it. And I wrote this when I wrote this in my notes. This made total sense to me at the time, and now looking at it, it like barely makes any sense. But I wrote in my notes, this goes to our previous theme that we've discussed, that the most benevolent thing you can do is not tell someone about Jesus. We've talked about this in the scheme of missionary movies, where we've learned that like what missionary movies tell you basically is that if you don't tell someone about Jesus, then they go to heaven automatically. But once you give them the choice, then all of a sudden their responsibility to uphold that choice gives them the chance of going to hell. It'd probably be better for people probability wise if they didn't know about Jesus. From what I can tell, that's like the message of this movie too. It's like, if you tell the robot about Jesus, it's going to try to kill you benevolently to save you the suffering of your illness you caught from South American orphans. And then it's going to steal your identity and try to fuck somebody from church.
Yeah. Also, don't help orphans.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that I could have told you. How are you as an orphan not having both of your parents? That's honestly, it's a major red flag for me when a kid doesn't have both of his parents.
Yeah, you obviously did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why else would God do that?
I know.
God gives his greatest challenges to his strongest warriors.
To his strongest robots.
God gives his dirtiest dishes to his strongest robots.
This is a crazy fucking movie. In a tight like hour and 10 minutes, it rides through really deep metaphysical themes, very shallowly and confusingly explored, but just done with so much exuberance that it is pretty hard not to love.
Yeah.
There's even a kung fu scene.
It's got it all.
Like, come on.
Yeah. Should we rank it?
I'm down. Unless there's anything from the film that we have forgotten to mention. But I think we did a pretty solid coverage.
I think so too.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. What do we say? What is the official boys' Bible study ranking?
I'm going to give The Robot, the creator, 12 out of 12 eggs. Crushed slowly in the death grip of Auto Mae. I wrote down Ryan Treecarton when I was watching that scene because it felt like the look of it, everything felt like a Ryan Treecarton film.
The film where they're teaching Auto Mae not to crush eggs with her hands.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
If I had to describe this movie in one sentence, I would quote Sammy as he was talking to Blake about working with his ex. Anytime you get two people together, somebody does something else. Oh, well, you know what happens. Which honestly sounds a lot like, whenever somebody tells me about something in their life and I give unsolicited advice.
Yeah, they dish on you, then they ask for your opinion. You're like, well, yeah, you did something. You did something.
And then they tell me they were not looking for advice.
Right.
And that's why we need the CIA.
Yes, for God's sake, get me out of this mess.
The adult in the room.
All I have to say is that this movie showed me that we all got skeletons in our closet. And I'm going to give this 1 out of 1 love over hate t-shirt. Because whether you check off the love box or the hate box, you're still a killer robot. And I don't know if that makes sense, but neither did the end of this movie.
I mean, we can only do what we're programmed to do,
It's true.
That's what I say. As for me, I really like this movie. As I said, it reminded me of Poor Things in the fact that it was about an adult woman with a baby brain who you want to have sex with. It reminded me of the end of Evangelion because it was talking about consciousness uploaded from beings to beings, and also there was a character. There was a setting called Langley.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I do have to say, apropos of nothing, this entire episode, I have been trying to use the phrase Auto Mae erotic asphyxiation, but I just couldn't find a place to do it. So I'm tagging it here at the end. I liked it. I got to give this film, 1 out of 1 self-replicating virus, because that is what this movie will be, surely, to me, in my head. I don't know if I'll ever be able to stop thinking about this one. And I'm thrilled to explore more of Jasmine Andrews' catalog. I feel, blessed to be a part of the podcast that's, telling the world about these filmmakers, because I don't think anyone else has. I can only hope that our gentle listeners use this information responsibly and follow the 4 laws.
Subscribe to the Patreon.
Absolutely. Subscribe to patreon.com/Boys Bible Study.
Listen to the episodes.
Yes, on boysbiblestudy.com. Listen to our free episodes if you'd like.
Share the episodes.
Absolutely. Just not the bonus episodes.
And
rate us 5 stars.
Kill. Yeah. Rate us 5 stars.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 4 laws. Yes, to all of those. It's the ethical way to consume faith-based film podcasts. Also, shout outs to the most ethical among us, our patron saints at the $20 tier, who we shout out on the end of every episode. It's Nicole, Marissa, Jeff, Rhett, and Mark. Thank you for your generous support. And our outro music is the song Oh My God by Mary, which you may have recently heard as used in the Lifetime film Friday Night Sex Scandal.
Yes.
Which is so insane.
Oh,
and
man.
We will post more about it.
Scott, did you say we could get our episodes taken down now because that?
Yeah, I was making a joke. Lifetime doesn't have the budget or time to do
about that. Yeah, I doubt it. But
no, but if you're not a patron, we did clip it and put it up on patreon.com today.
Awesome. Yeah, check out the full clip of the song being used in the film.
It's really wild.
It really is. And as always, on behalf of myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Scott and Julian, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And also with you.
And also with you.
That sounded awesome. Julian put the mic up to his throat. It sounded crazy.
That sounded good. I could hear it.
Hello. Praise the Lord.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you into me every day.